If you're like most drivers, you're looking for ways to save money on gasoline and those costly emissions repairs. Well, now school districts and drivers in Central Texas are testing a new device that promises to do just that.
It has a gross vehicle weight rating of 30,000 pounds, so it still takes some fuel to get it down the road.
But pump prices aren't the only problem facing the Eanes Independent School District and drivers all across Central Texas.
That's the soot that, in particulate matter that comes through the engine and then deposits inside, and much of it blows out.
If we can reduce the emissions out the tailpipe, then we're helping everyone.
Now add a new addition to a couple of EISD buses that could address both problems.
This is what we're talking about right here. That's what we're talking about. This is the Ecosystems fuel modifier.
What you're trying to do is reduce the emissions on your vehicle and increase your fuel economy and pass the emissions test, and this device will help you do all three of those.
We're seeing some copper screens that actually agitate your fuel.
Therefore, you don't have that unburnt fuel in the cylinder, which ends up evaporating and becoming an emission out the tailpipe. This is a 14-year-old car, and I have every reason to believe if I pull in right now and do an emissions test, I'm going to pass.
It is amazing at the amount of black soot and chunks of black soot that blew out of the tailpipe immediately after this system was introduced. So it did clean up the engine right up to startup. And we drove it through the same test pattern again throughout the district, and the tailpipe emissions were considerably reduced.
Fuel reductions in his buses were minimal, but then he tested the device in his 12-year-old car.
I immediately noticed the improved responsiveness in the acceleration.
It's a benefit he wasn't expecting in a vehicle that had already been driven more than 200,000 miles.
It was up to 60 in less than 10 seconds.
Now, the Eanes School District and the people in our story aren't the only ones testing this new device. There are some of the other school districts using this ecosystem you see on your screen there, and some cities are trying it out too. In Houston, they're even used on tugboats. This device is not EPA approved yet, but you can find out some test results at KXAN.com.